Imagine waking up in the morning without that heavy knot of anxiety in your chest. Imagine moving through your day without the constant worry, the endless what-ifs, or the fear of things going wrong. What if you could actually live with a calm heart, no matter what chaos is unfolding around you? The truth is, anxiety doesn't come from outside events. It grows from within. From the stories we tell ourselves, from our attachments, and from our inability to let go. But Buddhism, with its deep and ancient wisdom, offers a different way to live. A path that helps you dissolve anxiety at its roots and replace it with lasting inner peace. Today, we're going to explore 10 Buddhist laws, timeless truths from the Dharma, that can help you free yourself from anxiety and live with greater peace, clarity, and strength. These teachings are not just abstract ideas, they are practical, powerful principles you can start using right now. So if you're ready to take that first step toward freedom from fear and worry, stay with me. Because these 10 laws may just change the way you live forever. Anxiety is often born from the illusion of permanence, the belief that things must stay a certain way in order for us to feel secure. We cling tightly to people, possessions, routines, and expectations because somewhere deep inside we believe that losing them would mean losing ourselves. But in clinging to what we cannot control, we create the very suffering we wish to avoid. Buddhism offers a gentle but profound truth. Everything is impermanent, and in that impermanence lies your liberation. Nothing in life stays the same. Every moment is in flux. The seasons change, our bodies change. Emotions rise and fall like waves. Relationships bloom and fade. Even your thoughts, the ones that seem so overwhelming in this moment, will dissolve with time. When we resist this natural rhythm of change, we suffer. But when we learn to flow with it, to dance with the constant movement of life, anxiety begins to loosen its grip. The Buddha taught, everything that has a beginning has an ending. Make your peace with that, and all will be well. These words are not just a poetic reflection, they are a roadmap out of fear. When you recognize that pain is temporary, that no challenge is eternal, you begin to relax into the moment rather than fighting it. You realize the storm will pass. It always does. Think of life like a river. The current never stops. Trying to hold on to one part of it is like trying to grasp water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips away. But when you open your palms, when you allow the water to flow freely, you experience the beauty of the river without trying to own it. Impermanence is not a threat. It is an invitation to be present, to savor each moment, and to let go when it's time. When anxiety arises, it's often because your mind has latched onto a fear. What if I lose this? What if things don't stay the same? But in truth, nothing stays the same, and that's okay. The pain you feel now, the worry that sits in your chest, it will pass, just as every emotion before it has. When you stop fearing the ebb and flow of life, you start trusting the process, and trust is the antidote to anxiety. You can start practicing this today. When fear arises, don't run from it. Sit with it. Breathe into it. Watch it like you would a leaf floating down a stream. Say to yourself, this too shall pass, because it will. It always does. Let go of the illusion that you need to control every outcome. You don't. You only need to meet each moment with awareness and grace. Impermanence also teaches us to cherish the good, the moments of joy, connection, laughter. They are precious because they are fleeting. Instead of fearing their end, we can celebrate their presence, and when they pass, we know that more joy will come, just as surely as the sun follows the night. In this way, the law of impermanence frees you not only from anxiety, but from the chains of attachment and fear. You begin to live more lightly, love more freely, and face uncertainty with a steady heart. You stop needing life to be perfect because you've learned to flow with whatever comes, and that That is true peace. So next time you feel overwhelmed, remember, this moment is only a wave in the vast ocean of your life. You are not the wave, you are the ocean. Let it rise, let it fall, and know that underneath it all, your calm remains. Imagine walking through life with a deep, unshakable calm, a state where no insult pierces your heart, no criticism disturbs your mind, and no chaos steals your peace. That's what it means to become untouchable, not in a physical sense, but in a spiritual one. Buddhism teaches us that the greatest power we can cultivate is emotional sovereignty, the ability to remain undisturbed by the external world. Most of our suffering doesn't come from what people say or do to us. It comes from how we react. When someone speaks harshly, we feel hurt. When life doesn't go as planned, we feel anxious. But underneath all these reactions is a simple truth. You have the power to choose how you respond, and that choice is where your freedom lives. Buddha said, "You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger." This simple yet profound teaching shows us that emotional pain often stems from our attachment to reactivity. When we feel insulted, we often retaliate. When we're hurt, we shut down. But the moment we take back our inner control, the moment we realize that no one can make us feel inferior without our permission, we begin to rise into peace that cannot be taken away. Think of your inner peace like a flame inside a glass lantern. The world outside may howl with wind, words, actions, noise, opinions, but the flame stays lit because it is protected. When you become untouchable, you build that glass around your spirit. You don't ignore the storm, you simply don't let it blow out your light. Becoming untouchable doesn't mean you become cold or numb. It means you are centered, grounded. You become a witness to life, not a victim of it. And in that witnessing, you begin to see that most people's negativity is a reflection of their inner suffering, not yours. You begin to understand that someone's rudeness doesn't say anything about your worth. Their anger, jealousy, or bitterness is a mirror of their pain. You don't have to pick it up and carry it with you. The next time someone tries to provoke you, pause, take a deep breath. Instead of reacting from ego, respond from awareness. Say silently to yourself, "Their energy does not belong to me." This moment of awareness is not weakness, it is immense strength. It is the power of restraint, the clarity of choice, and the dignity of emotional maturity. Practice this again and again. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when a colleague criticizes your work, when a loved one speaks with anger, breathe, observe, choose calm. Over time, you'll notice something powerful happening. Your mind becomes quieter, your reactions slower, your peace more constant. That is the birth of untouchability. You will find that fewer and fewer things have the power to disturb you. Where you once reacted with defensiveness, you now respond with grace. Where you once held grudges, you now release them with compassion. You become a spiritual warrior, not with weapons, but with wisdom. And when others try to project their pain onto you, when they speak with cruelty or act with malice, you no longer absorb it. Instead, you see the truth, that they are hurting, and you don't have to join them in that hurt. This shift transforms your relationships. You become an anchor of calm in storms, a mirror of clarity, a presence of peace that others begin to feel. Buddhism teaches that we are not here to control others. We are here to master ourselves. And self-mastery begins with the choice to no longer let the outer world dictate your inner world. This is what it means to become untouchable, to know your worth, to guard your peace, and to walk through life with a mind that is steady, soft, and sovereign. So the next time life tempts you to lose your peace, when someone insults you, when a situation feels unfair, take a step back, smile inwardly, and say, "I am the guardian of my soul. I choose peace." In that moment, you become untouchable. And in that untouchability, you find your greatest power. At some point in your life, maybe even today, someone will insult you. It could be subtle, like a sarcastic comment, or it could be sharp, like an open attack. And when that happens, something within you tightens. The heart beats faster. The mind starts racing with comebacks. You want to fight, defend, argue. But Buddhism offers us a different path, a path not of reaction, but of liberation. You see, an insult is not just words. It is an invitation to either fall into someone else's anger or to rise above it with grace. Most people accept the invitation without thinking. They lash out, they retaliate, they match energy with energy. And in doing so, they become chained to the same negativity that was hurled at them. But when you choose not to take the insult personally, something extraordinary happens. The power of the insult dies in your silence. Buddha once taught, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love." This is the eternal law. This teaching is not just poetic, it's practical. Responding to hate with hate only multiplies the suffering. But when you meet an insult with calm, when you replace defensiveness with understanding, you dissolve the fire instead of feeding it. Imagine someone throwing a hot coal at you. You have two choices: catch it and get burned, or let it fall and walk on. When people insult you, they are handing you their pain. Their words are often not about you, but about them, their fear, their insecurity, their suffering. When you take it personally, you internalize their wounds. But when you step back and see it for what it is, pain masked as hostility, you free yourself from their chain. This doesn't mean you tolerate abuse or become passive. It means you respond from awareness, not ego. You choose clarity over chaos. You realize that defending yourself is not always strength. Sometimes, true strength is not needing to defend at all. When someone tries to provoke you, pause. Feel the emotion rise, then breathe into it. Ask yourself, is this worth disturbing my peace? Most of the time, the answer is no. And when you choose not to engage, not to react, not to let that comment take root inside you, you reclaim your power. That's what Buddhism teaches, that the insult may be real, but the injury is optional. You are not defined by others' words. You are not the label someone throws at you. You are the silence that absorbs the noise without becoming it. The more you practice this, the more you realize that insults lose their sting when they meet inner stability. The person insulting you may still be angry, but you remain untouched, centered, free. Over time, this becomes a powerful habit. You no longer carry every wound, every opinion, every jab. You walk through the world lighter. You begin to recognize that peace isn't something you earn by being liked or defended. Peace is what you keep by not letting others dictate your worth. This is not weakness. This is mastery. It is the warrior's calm. The ability to stand in fire and not be consumed. You see, insult and defense are a dance. One leads, the other follows. But if you don't step onto the floor, the dance ends. You become the stillness that outlasts the storm. So next time someone insults you, let your response be silence or wisdom or even gentle compassion. See their pain, but don't make it yours. See their fire, but don't add fuel to it. Instead, rise. Breathe. Smile inwardly, and remember, your peace is too precious to trade for petty battles. That is how you break free from the cycle. That is how you become not just untouchable, but undefinable by anything other than your own calm. When someone speaks badly about you behind your back or even to your face, it's like a sting to the soul. Your chest tightens, your mind wants to defend, to argue, to prove them wrong. It's natural to feel hurt when someone misunderstands you, spreads falsehoods, or casts judgment. But Buddhism gently reminds us, what others say about you reveals more about their inner world than it does about your truth. The truth is, you cannot control what others say, but you can always choose what you believe and how you respond. Words may fly like arrows, but you are not made of paper. You are not obligated to absorb every opinion spoken about you. Just as you would not drink from a poisoned cup, why swallow the bitterness of someone else's resentment? Buddha once said, "Speak or act with an impure mind, and trouble will follow you." This means that when others speak ill, they are often guided by their own shadows. Envy, fear, insecurity, or pain. Their words may sound personal, but they're really about them. And when you understand this, you free yourself from the trap of internalizing their darkness. Imagine someone standing at a river's edge, yelling insults at the water. The river keeps flowing. It doesn't turn back. It doesn't stop to argue. It simply continues on its path, powerful, graceful, unmoved. You are the river. Let your life continue flowing, undisturbed by the noise on the shore. When people speak negatively about you, ask yourself, is their voice louder than my integrity? Do their words define me more than my actions, my heart, my intentions? The answer is always no. You are defined not by gossip, but by your choices, not by whispers, but by truth. It takes strength to remain silent when you are being misrepresented. It takes even more strength to respond not with retaliation, but with grace. This doesn't mean you never speak up, but it does mean you speak from a place of clarity, not desperation. You protect your peace instead of trying to control perception. And here's the deeper teaching. Compassion is your greatest shield. Those who speak ill of you may be hurting in ways you can't see. Maybe they were wounded. Maybe they feel unseen. Maybe their words are a cry for relevance or power. You don't have to excuse their actions, but when you see through the lens of compassion, their negativity loses its power over you. Try this practice. When you hear someone has spoken against you, pause, breathe, bring their face to mind, and silently say, "May you find peace. May you heal what hurts within you." Then let it go. Release their voice from your spirit. That act alone, choosing compassion over conflict, is an act of profound spiritual strength. Over time, your silence, your calm, your consistency will speak louder than any rumor. People will see your truth in how you carry yourself. Let your actions be so steady, your heart so open, and your light so constant that no one's darkness can drown it. You don't need to correct every lie. You don't need to clear every misunderstanding. Sometimes the greatest reply is a life well lived, a life rooted in truth, kindness, and unwavering peace. Because in the end, people may speak ill, but only you can decide if their words get to live inside you. Remember, what someone says about you reveals them. How you respond reveals you. And you, at your core, are peace. You are clarity. You are stillness beneath the noise. You are the river, ever flowing, ever present, ever free. So the next time someone speaks ill of you, don't let their words settle in your heart. Let them pass like clouds across the sky. Keep your eyes on your path. Let your kindness echo louder than their cruelty. Let your light outshine their shadows. Let your peace, not your pride, have the final word. Your mind is your sanctuary, your temple, your private garden. Everything you experience, joy, fear, peace, suffering, begins not outside of you but within. That is why in Buddhism, One of the most important principles is this: guard your mind with the same care you would guard something sacred. The Buddha said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." This teaching is not merely philosophical, it is deeply practical. Because every thought you allow into your mind plants a seed, and those seeds grow into feelings, into actions, into your reality. If you plant seeds of fear, anger, or doubt, they grow into vines that choke your joy. But if you plant seeds of peace, gratitude, and clarity, they blossom into a life filled with light. So ask yourself, what am I allowing to take root in the soil of my mind? Are you nourishing weeds or wildflowers? Are you feeding fears or cultivating stillness? Many people do not even realize how unguarded their minds have become. News, opinions, toxic relationships, endless scrolling, all of these influences are like seeds being thrown into your garden all day long. And if you're not conscious, your mind becomes overgrown, cluttered, chaotic, anxious. Guarding your mind doesn't mean isolating yourself or pretending negativity doesn't exist. It means becoming aware. It means standing at the gate of your thoughts like a wise gardener, deciding which thoughts deserve your water, your energy, your attention. It means knowing that you don't have to believe every thought that arises, and you don't have to entertain every story your fear tells you. Imagine walking into a beautiful garden filled with calm pathways, blooming flowers, soft wind. That is your natural state. But just as weeds can overrun a garden left unattended, so too can your peace be overtaken by negativity if you don't maintain mindfulness. So make it a daily practice. Check in with your mind. Ask, what am I focusing on? Is this thought useful, loving, or simply loud? When a negative thought arises, a fear, a criticism, a spiral of worry, pause. Don't push it away in frustration. Simply acknowledge it like a passing cloud. Say to yourself, this is not me. This is just a thought. And then gently let it go. Guide your attention back to something healing, your breath, a sound, a mantra, a moment of gratitude. This is the work of mental discipline, and it is a spiritual act. You are not avoiding reality. You are choosing what kind of reality to nurture inside yourself. Just as you would not let strangers into your home without discernment, do not let every random thought live rent-free in your head. The more you practice this, the stronger your mind becomes. You will notice that your anxiety quiets, your mood steadies, your reactions slow down. You begin to feel rooted, centered, because your mind is no longer a battlefield. It is a sanctuary, and from that sanctuary, your best self can emerge. Guarding your mind also means protecting it from comparison and noise. In a world filled with distractions where everyone is projecting their highlight reel, it's easy to feel less than, to feel behind, unworthy, or not enough. But those are weeds that never belonged in your garden to begin with. Your path is your own. Your timeline is sacred. Stay focused on the inner peace you're building, not the noise others are making. Meditation is one of the most powerful tools for guarding the mind. Even 5 minutes a day can shift your inner landscape. It's like daily pruning, clearing out what no longer serves you, making space for new growth. Sit in stillness, breathe, and observe. You don't need to control every thought. You just need to recognize that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. Over time, your mind becomes less reactive and more reflective, less frantic and more focused, less judgmental and more compassionate. That is the power of guarding your mind. It transforms your life from the inside out. So tend to your mind like the sacred ground it is. Be mindful of what you consume, of what you repeat, of what you believe. Choose thoughts that nourish peace. Pull out thoughts that poison your spirit. With daily care, your inner garden will flourish, and in its beauty, you will find a peace that no chaos can steal. Fear and shame are the two silent thieves of peace. They slip in quietly, whispering lies in your mind, tightening their grip on your spirit until you begin to shrink from life, from love, from your own potential. But Buddhism teaches that these emotions, though powerful, are not permanent, and they are certainly not your identity. They are shadows, and shadows always disappear in the light of awareness. Fear often arises when you stand at the edge of the unknown. It's that trembling in the heart before a leap, before a decision, a conversation, a change. It's the voice that says, "What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough?" And shame is its close companion. Shame doesn't just whisper about the future, it drags you into the past. It says, "Remember that mistake? You'll never be more than that." But these voices are not truth. They are echoes of old wounds, illusions built on misunderstandings of who you are. Buddhism does not ask you to run from these feelings. It asks you to face them with presence. The Buddha taught, even death is not to be feared by one who has lived wisely. In this, he reminds us that when we live in truth, with integrity, compassion, and courage, there is nothing to fear. Fear and shame only grow when they remain unseen. The moment you look directly at them, without judgment, they begin to lose their hold. Imagine fear and shame like wild animals that have wandered into your temple. You could chase them, scream at them, pretend they're not there, but none of those reactions bring peace. Instead, sit with them, observe them, watch how they pace, how they speak. In doing so, you learn their patterns, and in learning their patterns, you reclaim your power. You are the watcher, not the prisoner. One of the most healing realizations in Buddhist practice is that you are not broken, you are becoming. Every crack, every wound, every regret is part of your path. When you allow shame to define you, you halt your growth. But when you meet shame with compassion, you begin to see yourself clearly, not as damaged, but as human. Beautifully, courageously human. Try this. The next time fear arises, do not push it away. Place your hand gently over your heart. Breathe. Say, "I see you, and I am safe." When shame begins to speak its harsh words, meet it with kindness. "That was who I was. This is who I am becoming." Speak to yourself as you would a dear friend, with gentleness, with truth, and with forgiveness. Overcoming fear and shame is not about becoming fearless. It's about walking through life with your fear in one hand and your faith in the other. It's about no longer letting shame write the script of your life. Instead, you hold the pen, you write your story, and your story is allowed to be imperfect, messy, miraculous. Buddhism teaches that all suffering has a cause, and all causes can be understood. What causes your fear? Where did your shame begin? These questions are invitations into healing. The more you ask them, the deeper you go, and the deeper you go, the freer you become. Because underneath every fear is a desire to be safe. Underneath every shame is a longing to be loved. Mindfulness is the flashlight that helps you explore these dark corners without becoming lost in them. When you sit quietly and observe your mind, you begin to notice how fear arrives like a wave. It rises, it peaks, and it fades. You begin to see how shame is often triggered by a memory or an expectation. And with this awareness, you create space. In that space, you can choose a different response. Self-compassion is the medicine that begins to heal the inner wounds. Buddhism encourages you to treat yourself with the same kindness you offer others. This means forgiving yourself. It means holding space for your past without letting it define your present. It means knowing that you are worthy, not because of what you've done or haven't done, but because you exist. And the more you practice this, the more the voices of fear and shame grow quieter. You begin to walk taller, speak softer, trust deeper. You learn that fear is just a signal, not a sentence, that shame is just a shadow, not a truth. that your soul is not broken, it's blooming. So, whenever fear comes knocking, open the door and greet it with calm. When shame starts to speak, listen with compassion, then thank it and release it, because you are no longer living under their rule. You are walking forward, step by step, breath by breath, and in that movement there is healing. You are not your fear, you are not your shame, you are the awareness rising beyond them both. Imagine walking through life knowing that every single person you meet is here to teach you something, not just the kind ones, the wise ones, the inspiring ones, but also the difficult ones, the rude ones, the ones who make your heart ache or your patience stretch thin. What if every encounter, joyful or painful, was a sacred lesson from the universe itself? This is the essence of one of Buddhism's most powerful insights. Every being is a teacher. Every interaction is an opportunity to grow. And when you begin to see the world through this lens, something profound shifts inside you. Life is no longer something that happens to you. It becomes something that is happening for you. We tend to divide people into two categories, those who nourish us and those who drain us. But in truth, both types shape us. One strengthens our peace, the other tests it, and testing is not punishment, it is preparation. Those who challenge us are often the ones who reveal our deepest emotional patterns. They bring to the surface what's already inside us: insecurity, impatience, unresolved wounds, and in doing so, they give us a chance to heal. Think of life like a school, and every person like a mirror in the classroom. Some mirrors reflect your kindness, your strength, your joy. Others reflect your impatience, your ego, your triggers. But both are valuable. One shows you how far you've come, the other shows you where you still have room to grow. When someone irritates you, ask, what is this emotion teaching me about myself? When someone praises you, ask, what virtue have I cultivated that they are recognizing? When someone hurts you, ask, what attachment or expectation is this pain pointing me toward? These questions turn every encounter into a meditation, every conflict into a classroom. Buddha said, if you cannot find a good companion to walk with, walk alone, like an elephant roaming the jungle. But until you walk alone, you will often walk with those who challenge your spirit, and their role is not to defeat you, but to reveal you, to bring you face to face with the version of yourself that still needs gentleness, patience, boundaries, or healing. You may encounter someone who constantly criticizes you, and in that moment you can learn the art of non-reactivity. Another may ignore you, and you can learn the strength of self-worth that does not depend on external attention. Someone else may betray your trust, and you can learn forgiveness, not for them, but for you, so that your heart stays soft instead of hardened by resentment. One of the greatest teachers in disguise is conflict, not because it feels good, but because it brings your inner patterns to the surface. How you react reveals what still needs attention. Your triggers are not signs of weakness, they are guideposts, and the people who trigger you are not villains, they are your messengers. Transforming everyone into a relentless teacher doesn't mean staying in unhealthy relationships. It means extracting the lesson before letting go. It means walking away, not with bitterness, but with wisdom. Even the most painful interactions can leave you stronger, more compassionate, and more awake if you approach them with awareness. This principle also helps you stay humble. It reminds you that you don't have all the answers. Even someone younger than you, someone with less experience, someone who opposes you, they can still teach you something. Maybe patience, maybe resilience, maybe how to speak your truth. Every soul is on a journey, and their presence in your life is part of yours. Try this practice the next time you're in a difficult situation with someone. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this person here to teach me?" It's a radical shift from resistance to reflection, from victimhood to growth, from frustration to wisdom. Over time, you begin to realize that life is always teaching. Through people, through events, through moments of silence and storms alike. And the more you open your heart to this idea, the more you begin to see there are no enemies, only instructors in disguise. This mindset transforms your relationships. You become less reactive and more reflective. You meet pain with curiosity. You meet rudeness with restraint. You become a student of life in the truest sense, willing to learn, to adapt, and to evolve. So look at those around you not as burdens but as mirrors. Look at every difficult person as a hidden lesson, every frustrating encounter as a spiritual workout, every painful goodbye as a blessing wrapped in shadow. When you transform everyone into a relentless teacher, life becomes a sacred school, and in this school, there are no failures, only lessons. There are no wasted moments, only missed reflections. There are no insignificant people, only unopened books of wisdom waiting to be read. And you are both the student and the teacher, forever learning, forever growing, forever free. In a world where everything changes, where opinions shift like sand, where trends rise and fall, where chaos often takes the loudest voice, there must be something within you that doesn't waver, something deeper than mood, stronger than circumstance. That something is your ethical code, the quiet compass of your soul. Buddhism teaches us that an ethical life is not just about morality, it is about clarity and freedom. When you live with integrity, you reduce the conflict between your inner world and your outer actions. You stop second-guessing your choices. You stop carrying the weight of guilt or regret, and in their place, you discover a rare and powerful kind of peace, the peace of being whole. The Buddha did not offer commandments. He offered precepts, gentle but firm guidelines to help us live without harming ourselves or others. These include: avoid harming living beings, do not take what is not given, avoid sexual misconduct, speak truthfully, and avoid substances that cloud the mind. Simple on the surface, but when followed with intention, they shape a life of deep purpose and spiritual strength. Why does this matter in overcoming anxiety or staying calm? Because when your actions align with your values, your heart is light, you sleep better, you breathe easier, you stop running from yourself. Most anxiety is not caused by external events, but by the tension between who we are being and who we are meant to be. An ethical code resolves that tension. Think of your ethical code as the roots of a tree. When the winds of life blow hard, criticism, temptation, uncertainty, it's your roots that hold you steady. The deeper your roots, the less likely you are to be shaken. You don't bend to every pressure, you don't change based on who's watching, you act from within. Living ethically also builds self-trust, and self-trust is one of the most overlooked foundations of inner peace. When you keep your promises to yourself, when you live by principles, even when it's inconvenient, you start to believe in your own character. You stop needing validation. You stop fearing judgment. You begin to live freely because your conscience is clear. But this isn't about perfection. Buddhism reminds us the path is not about never falling, it's about becoming aware when you do and gently returning. Your ethical code isn't a prison, it's a path. It evolves with you. What matters is not rigid rule following, but mindful alignment. Every day is a new opportunity to come back to your center, to live from a place of compassion, honesty, and non-harming. And let's not forget, your ethical code is a gift to the world around you. When you live with integrity, others feel safe in your presence. When you are truthful, others trust your words. When you act with kindness, you inspire peace in those who witness you. Your values ripple outward, silently healing the world in ways you may never see. Here's a practice. Take a quiet moment to ask yourself, What do I stand for? Even when no one is watching. Write it down, reflect on it, and each morning, set your intention to live from that place. When temptations or moral fog arise, return to those words. Let them be your lighthouse. Also, learn to forgive yourself when you fall short. An unshakable ethical code is not brittle. It bends with humility. It learns from mistakes. It gets stronger through the act of returning. As the Buddha taught, better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. Let your life become that word, a living truth, simple and strong. Over time, your ethical code becomes more than a set of choices. It becomes your nature. You no longer try to live a good life. You simply live as one who is inwardly at peace, and that peace is not dependent on the world being fair or people being kind or outcomes going your way. It is rooted in who you've chosen to be. So in the face of temptation, choose truth. In the face of shortcuts, choose integrity. In the face of fear, choose compassion. Let your ethical code be your armor, your anchor, your refuge. And know this: when everything around you shakes, it is your inner values that will keep you still. Forge that code, live it, return to it, and you will become unshakable. Not because life got easier, but because you became deeper. In our fast-moving world, it's easy to forget that we are not machines. We are part of nature. We rise and fall like the ocean. We breathe with the wind. We bloom and fade like flowers in their season. But somewhere along the way, we lost touch with this truth. We replaced flow with force, intuition with urgency, and harmony with control. Buddhism gently reminds us to find peace, we must return to nature, not just the trees and the rivers, but the nature within ourselves. To live according to nature is not about abandoning modern life. It's about living with awareness of life's deeper currents. It means aligning with the truth that everything in this world, your emotions, your circumstances, your relationships, moves in cycles. Nothing is constant, and the more we fight that truth, the more we suffer. But when we live in rhythm with nature, we begin to experience a profound serenity, one that isn't dependent on perfection, but on presence. Think of how nature responds to change. When the seasons shift, the tree doesn't panic. It lets go of its leaves in autumn, not because it is dying, but because it trusts the cycle. It knows that spring will come again. You too must learn to let go, not with fear, but with faith. That's the wisdom of nature. Nothing is wasted, and everything is transformed. Living according to nature also means honoring your limits. Just as a field needs rest after a harvest, so do you. Just as the moon waxes and wanes, so do your energy and emotions. But modern life praises constant productivity. It demands more, faster, louder. And in trying to keep up, we betray our nature. We exhaust our spirit. Buddhism teaches the middle way, the path of balance. Not excess, not deprivation, just enough. This principle is mirrored in the natural world. The river flows around rocks. It doesn't try to force them to move. The sun doesn't rush to rise, and the stars don't compete for attention. Everything has its time, its rhythm, its place. To live in harmony with nature is to listen more and push less. It's learning when to act and when to rest. It's understanding that doing nothing can sometimes be the most powerful thing, because stillness is not stagnation, it is incubation. Your greatest insights often come not in motion, but in quiet. And when storms come, and they will, nature teaches you how to withstand them. Watch how the bamboo bends in the wind without breaking. It's not rigid, but rooted. That is your lesson. Be soft yet strong. Be grounded yet flexible. Adapt without losing yourself. You can begin to practice this alignment by spending time in the natural world. Go outside, Sit under a tree. Watch the clouds move across the sky. Feel the texture of the earth under your feet. Breathe with the rhythm of the ocean or the silence of a forest. Nature doesn't hurry, yet everything is accomplished. When you tune your senses to this quiet intelligence, your inner world begins to mirror it. Living according to nature also means making choices that sustain life, not only yours, but all life. Eating mindfully, consuming less, respecting the earth, practicing kindness, not just toward people, but toward animals, plants, the air you breathe. Because Buddhism teaches everything is connected. When you harm the earth, you harm yourself. When you nourish the earth, you nourish your spirit. This principle invites simplicity, joy in the present, gratitude for what is, instead of restlessness for what isn't. It teaches you to live not in resistance to the world, but in reverence for it, to understand that even endings are not failures, they are transitions. That decay makes room for new growth, that suffering like rain can bring new life. The Buddha said, just as a snake sheds its skin, we must shed our past over and over again. Nature never clings, it releases, it renews, it trusts. This is your invitation to surrender what no longer serves you, to stop grasping, to shed the old so that something new can emerge, something more aligned, more peaceful, more true. And so to live according to nature is to stop fighting the flow of life and begin dancing with it. To recognize that you are not separate from the universe, you are a thread in its vast and beautiful web. Your breath is borrowed from the wind. Your heartbeat echoes the rhythm of the earth. You are not a mistake. You are a miracle of design. So slow down. Breathe. Return to your rhythm. Rest when you're weary. Move when you're inspired. Release when it's time. Receive when grace appears. Align with nature, and you will remember what peace feels like. Because peace doesn't come from controlling everything. It comes from trusting the pattern, the process, the pulse of something greater. And when you live in tune with that, you no longer force your way through life, you flow. Gratitude is more than a polite gesture, more than a fleeting thank you, more than a reaction to comfort or good fortune. In Buddhism, gratitude is a sacred force, a spiritual tool that can dissolve suffering, restore clarity, and open the heart to peace even in the darkest hour. It's not just something you feel, it's something you wield. It is, quite literally, a weapon, not to harm others, but to protect your inner light from being consumed by the world's darkness. Life will throw trials at you, pain will knock at your door, you will lose things you love, people will misunderstand you, plans will fall apart, but gratitude says, even here, even now, I choose to see the gift. It transforms your suffering from something that breaks you into something that builds you. It turns obstacles into teachers, delays into redirections, loss into space for something greater to emerge. To weaponize gratitude means to use it as your shield against negativity. When fear tries to take hold, gratitude shifts your focus. When jealousy whispers lies, gratitude reminds you of what is already enough. When anger burns hot, gratitude cools it with presence. It doesn't deny pain, it simply refuses to let pain define the whole picture. Think of the mind like a camera. You can zoom in on the blur, the chaos, the unmet desire, the anxiety, or you can pull back and see the entire frame. Gratitude widens your view. It expands your awareness beyond the moment's discomfort and reconnects you with the bigger truth. You are still here, you are still breathing, you still have love, you still have a choice. Buddha taught, let us rise up and be thankful, for if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. And if we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So, let us all be thankful. This is not naive optimism. It's radical resilience. It's the mindset of a soul who refuses to let the shadows blind them from the light. To cultivate relentless positivity through gratitude does not mean pretending everything is perfect. It means finding something sacred even when everything feels broken. It means waking up and choosing to say thank you, not because everything is easy, but because you are still evolving, still learning, still held by the gentle pulse of life. Try this practice. Each night before sleep, write down 3 things you're grateful for, not big dramatic events, but small moments. A kind smile, the feeling of warm water, the silence of morning, the strength to keep going. Over time, this trains your mind to seek what's right instead of obsessing over what's missing. It rewires your brain to reflect peace, and when challenges come, because they will, you will have already built the habit of looking for the lesson, the gift, the deeper purpose. You will carry within you an inner lens that filters life through meaning instead of misery. That's how gratitude becomes a weapon. It guards your heart against hopelessness. Gratitude also magnifies connection. When you thank others genuinely, you build bridges, you soften hearts, you remind people of their goodness. Whether it's a loved one, a stranger, or even someone who's hurt you, expressing gratitude can disarm conflict, heal wounds, and create space for understanding. But most importantly, gratitude nurtures your relationship with yourself. It helps you recognize your growth. It allows you to appreciate how far you've come, even if you're not yet where you want to be. It teaches you to say, I may not be perfect, but I am on the path. And that is enough. When you weaponize gratitude, you become someone who radiates warmth, even in winter, who finds beauty in the cracks, who sings, not because life is always joyful, but because the soul has learned to dance in the silence. You become a beacon of light in a world that desperately needs it. So whenever you feel lost, begin again with thanks. When your heart is heavy, speak gratitude aloud. When the road is hard, let your eyes look for grace. And when all seems unclear, return to the breath and say, thank you for this breath, this moment, this chance, because the one who gives thanks for little is given much, and the one who holds on to gratitude holds on to peace that cannot be taken away. This is your power, this is your shield, this is your way forward. Relentless positivity rooted in relentless gratitude. You've now walked through 10 timeless Buddhist laws, each one a stepping stone toward a calmer, stronger, and more awakened version of yourself. You've discovered that true peace is not something you chase, it's something you cultivate, deep within the stillness of your own heart. You learn that life becomes lighter when you honor the law of impermanence, when you stop clinging to what is always meant to change. You found strength in becoming untouchable, realizing that your emotional state belongs only to you. You rose above insult and defense by seeing through the pain of others, and you stood tall when others spoke ill of you because your truth runs deeper than words. You began to guard your mind, tending to it like a sacred garden, weeding out thoughts that no longer serve you. You stared down fear and shame, not to run from them, but to understand them. And in that understanding, you began to heal. You turned every person, even the difficult ones, into a relentless teacher, realizing that every encounter carries a hidden lesson. You forged an unshakable ethical code, not out of duty, but out of devotion, to live in harmony with yourself and the world around you. You chose to live according to nature, remembering the wisdom of rivers, trees, and seasons. And finally, you learned to weaponize gratitude, to let thankfulness be your light in the darkest hour and your shield in the face of despair. All of these teachings are not just ideas. They are tools. They are invitations. They are living truths that become stronger the more you walk with them. And you don't need to be perfect to begin. You only need to be willing. Willing to observe, willing to breathe, willing to return again and again to your path. The Buddha never promised a life without suffering, but he gave us a way through it. a way to transform our pain into peace, our confusion into clarity, our restlessness into stillness. So as you step forward from this moment, carry these laws with you, not as burdens, but as blessings. Let them live in your breath, in your choices, in your silence, in your presence. You are not just surviving, you are awakening. And if this journey has touched you, even a little, consider sharing it. Someone else may need this wisdom too. And if you'd like to keep walking this path together, don't forget to subscribe and stay connected. There is so much more light ahead. Until next time, stay mindful, stay grounded, and above all, stay kind to the world and to yourself. May your inner peace be unshakable. May your journey be sacred.